Welcome to part 6 of Competency 13. In this video, we will work with the properties of circle construction. Hey, before we begin doing problems, I wanted to point out a few things about this image, okay? What I have done here is I have used GeoGebra, one of my favorites, to construct two intersecting circles. Now, there's a lot that can be said, and I can promise you that if you're taking a practice certification test at the university, hint, 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 there will be something about this. The one that I remember running into is they gave you this image, but nothing was labeled as far as numbers. And they don't even give you this 90-degree, the green angle. They don't give you any of them. They just show you the two circles intersected. And then you're supposed to say, out of the options, which ones are true. Okay. And I've listed out some truths about this image. I recommend you go and construct it for yourself if you haven't done this before. So there's a lot going on with the angles and the arcs and intersections and perpendicular situations. So there's a lot to be said about the intersection of two circles in this construction. Okay, so we're going to use some of these ways and truths of construction to answer some questions. Number 1, which figure shows the construction of a circle center? Okay, what we need to think about is we need to know what happens when we construct a circle. So you construct your circle first. And for example, A, where they just have two chords crisscrossing and it looks like it might go through the center of the circle, but we have no guarantee that that is actually the center of the circle. In reality, when I created that, or when you try to create that, you'll see that it's slightly off and it can be off. So A cannot be proper construction. Then when we look at B, we see that we have two chords, but then from the ends of the chord, you can draw lines of construction. And I guess their assumption is that this would be the center. Well, that is untrue also. There is no guarantee that that would be the center. And when you go to construct using, I use GeoGebra, which is probably right now it's my favorite and it's free. There are others out there called, like, for example, Sketchpad. It's got a lot of good things, but the truth is, one, you have to pay for it, and two, it's a little dated. Okay, so yeah, I'm not a fan. Okay, then if B can't be it, then we look at C. Well, if B isn't it, how on earth could C? Well, the thought is that, well, maybe that's a line going through that's the diameter, but there's nothing else to show us that being slicing the circle in half, being the diameter is supported. You would need more. So that's not a proper construction. Now, D, I absolutely agree with. And I'll tell you why. They take the two chords. You see that they have created midpoints on each, and then from the midpoint, they don't say it, but I'm going to go with the assumption because those are two midpoints that those are perpendicular. That we have perpendicular situations here. Okay. That being said, the best choice, even without the perpendicular markers at 90-degree, we don't need it. If we're going to compare the four we have, these all that you can choose. I mean, that's it. Okay. All right. Now let's look at number 2. All right. For number 2, we have which figure shows a construction of a line tangent to circle P. Okay. They're not asking what is the better construction. They just want to know which one properly shows that construction, what it should look like. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you now. B, that's not tangent. So that's not going to work. Okay, C has some tangency, but they don't prove it. I mean, they might. But with the 90-degree being not on the line that you actually here, this line right here, this one is what we think is as tangent. The 90-degree marker is not on that line. That is why C can't be considered. And the same with D. They show a little less, and it's worse. It's absolutely not convincing. Okay. If you haven't worked with the constructions of circles and you're not sure what I'm talking about, I recommend that you go and get yourself a GeoGebra account if you haven't and go through these constructions. There's all kinds of great websites out there. I think even GeoGebra has a place where you can actually, you know, search within their website, and you'll find all kinds of great things where people have made applets and great situations. And also, I do believe I do have my favorite person online that I go to. It's in the references. I believe that particular person has where they explain these things and some construction for you. Okay, so we are saying it's got to be option A. All right, let's go to number 3. Okay, before we do number 3, I do want to point out if you noticed, I have the calculator sitting over here on the side and I haven't touched it. The honest truth is, you won't always use the calculator in this situation. These are properties that you need to know. However, there will be times when you're asked questions with these images up and you'll be asked what angle measures are given a certain construction. Okay, so that could happen. Now, let's look at number 3. Which figure should the construction of a line tangent to circle P with, okay, oh, which figure shows the construction of a line tangent to circle P with the external point E? Okay, proper construction. You look at the intersection D of these two circles, but the truth is that doesn't prove anything. And you don't have tangent lines. You need to know the definition of tangent. There are no tangent lines, so they're missing. Okay. So now let's look at B. Okay. B, I have lines going through the circle. Those are secant. And I also, to be honest, I'm not sure what this line through AP is helping. And then there's a line that is tangent at A, but that really doesn't give what they're talking about. So let's say that's not going to work. Okay. Now we're going to look at A. Well, obviously now that I talked to you about B, A can't be it. Those are two secant lines going through the pink circle, and I'm not sure what's going on with the other circle. It doesn't make sense, okay? It creates a construction, but that's not the construction we're looking for, okay? So we'll mark that. And C, absolutely 100%. Okay, there's a lot going on there. So there's certain things that you need to do. I would have gone one step farther, but I think they didn't go a step further. Let's do, because they didn't want to give it away. This here should be perpendicular. So what are you going to do? What I would do, I have E, right? So I would create, my two radius. I would have my radius going from P out and the other one going from P out. Create those radius first. Okay. All right. I make sure they're perpendicular. Right. And then with that being perpendicular, the radius, well, actually I wouldn't. Well, sorry. I would have that and then create my perpendicular lines. And then don't forget, will actually be my ray, then my radius, and then my circle. Okay, and then my lines at the end going from E to the edge of the circle. Okay, so there's a process. Either way, even if you don't know the order of the process, like I had to sit and think about it, and I was like, wait a second, that's not quite right. So those lines are perpendicular, they are tangent, which is a definition of being tangent. So C is our option. Okay, regardless, you can look at that image and say, okay, I'm not sure what order you're supposed to do it in. But you know what? I know that's it. Okay, so number 4. All right. Which figure shows the construction of a circle with the points X, Y, Z? Oh, this one's tricky. Okay. Oh my gosh. Let's look at D first. Okay, that construction showing the perpendicular, that doesn't guarantee that that's going to create a circle. It would, it makes sense. But when you're constructing, I don't see how that's going, how it would prove to me that when I can draw a circle through those 3 points. I mean, I see how it would, the idea, and it's not wrong, but it isn't a good construction. That's the thing. Some of these images I'll give you, they're like, well, it's not wrong. Well, but it doesn't prove anything. The same with B. That doesn't prove anything. I don't have a guarantee that on each side of the point P that those are congruent. That's what bothers me. Yeah, and then I don't have that, the 90 degrees. I mean, it looks good. It makes a good talk, but I'm not buying it. Okay. I just don't believe that's a good construction. Okay. Now let's look at C. Okay. C's got a little bit more going for it. And I don't say that I don't see how that's going to work. I don't see how making those lines through those and then drawing a circle proves 100% that you have a proper construction. Do I have the angles I need? I mean, what do I have? I have something that looks like it would work. Well, when you go to make it on GeoGebra, you'll find that it probably doesn't really, it gets close, but no dice. Okay. So marks through C. Yes, A is our answer. And let me tell you why. And there's different ways that they can ask these questions. They're very simple questions, but there's a lot. Look at what is really going on. When you go from X to Y, you create a chord. And then from Y to Z, you're creating a chord. Okay. And then you need the midpoints of each one, which they've proven that those are midpoints. They have, let me change to this. They have proven by using their hash marks or tick marks, they've proven with their congruency, marks of congruency that there are midpoints. So I can 100% believe that this construction is on the right track. And then they've given perpendicular. When you use these perpendicular lines from the chord, that also makes me believe here and here. That makes me believe that we actually do have the center point of circle P. So that is the only construction that we can use. Okay, and that's the last question in this video. Again, if you like what we're doing in our videos, could you like us and share it? Sharing would be great. If you share it with other people that you know are trying to study for the test, then maybe they'll subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so because that's going to help keep the free videos up on the YouTube channel, and other things can be added and other free items in other ways and other places. All right. Thank you for watching and happy testing.